everyone, and welcome back to Politics Far From Home, where I'm not gonna yap too long for the start of this video. I only have one thing to announce, which is what I already announced in a post I made yesterday, which is that alongside this video, as soon as this video goes up, I'm also putting out two polls on my community tab to start our little fake election thing. These polls will be up for like roughly 2 days. I will be putting up the next poll on tomorrow evening rather. Each of these polls will have 4 parties on them that are going to be the parties that we discussed that are running for seats in Sigulda. And then on Friday, the second poll will be with the most popular parties in those 2 polls, respectively, competing against each other. And then at the end of it all, on Sunday, after the actual real-life polls have been counted, and votes have been counted, I will be doing a count of our own, see how our results compare, and doing all that. But today I want to look at a bunch of these different regions. Some of them I'm just going to probably pick at random, some of them just kind of interest me personally. I'm going to start by issuing an official apology to the citizens of Ventspils who rightfully were upset that I somehow accidentally put in a picture of Liepāja in the party video. I genuinely don't know how that happened. I guess I'm gonna be real vidzemnieks here. I don't think about this part of Latvia that often. So I somehow, I just had Liepāja on my mind for some reason instead of Ventspils, and I googled it, and I haven't been to these towns myself, so I genuinely, going through the video, would never have realized that mistake. So I will apologize to people of Ventspils by doing the survey for Ventspils Novats, which is the region and municipality that it's named after Ventspils without containing it. And the reason I'm doing this is actually very particular, which is Ventspils has the shortest list of candidates and parties in the country. In the current election, they have, I think, like roughly 50 or 60 candidates, and they have only 4 lists, and one of those lists has been added to this year with like 2 candidates. Last year, they had 3 lists, and this is how the results looked, which is also pretty amusing, because I mean, it's not quite an even split, obviously, but it's so close to an even split that it just amuses me greatly that that's how the election went. Anyway, oh god, I already realized my mistake. Tārgales pagastam, so the region of Tārgale, considering its historic financial investment, should be given a special status in the region with the guaranteed larger financing for infrastructure. I have made a severe error because I have no idea what is going on here. I can only honestly answer that. Oh my god, this is gonna be rough. I'm not gonna show every question. I'm just gonna show the more interesting ones, such as the one that's completely stumped me because I don't even know where that is. Deputies who have personal or familial interests in some kind of decision, such as the repair of a bridge, have a moral duty, not just to not participate in the vote, but to inform their colleagues before making the decision. I absolutely agree with that. I mean, for a start, this isn't even talking about legal. Like, this is not a legal requirement, it's a moral requirement. And, you know, despite the fact that morality is a spook, I still agree with this. Like, yeah, I mean, you have a vested interest, you should be open about those vested interests, because even the most, like, cynical mind out there looking at this should be like, well, if they don't disclose that, then someone else will point it out for them, and that'll just be damaging for everyone involved. So, you know, just tell them. Just tell people. Oh, well, that explains a little bit more, that Tārgale is actually one of the richest regions. I wish this had been the first goddamn question. The government should refrain from large investment projects and development projects while they haven't lessened the overall debt weight of the debts. Apparently, Ventspils region is in debt. I think that this is actually like, I don't know, controversial or not. I think if the development projects in question are ones that will bring in more financing and provide more developments that to increase financial output, I think that that's completely reasonable, because then you can use that investments and returns to pay off debt. So I'm just gonna say partially disagree. This is asking about making a wind farm, saying that it's good for it, but good for the environment, but it might affect the scenery. This is gonna be a weird one, but I kind of just think the wind parks and like wind turbines look cool as hell. So it's like, oh, they'll have an effect on the scenery, and I'm over here thinking, yeah, it'll look more badass. So there you go. As you can see, this list only has 4 parties in it. I agree the most with the Regional Union, followed by the National Union, followed by the Greens and Farmers, and then, yeah, the newcomers to this area are Sovereign Power / New Latvians. And, I mean, let's see, where do I disagree with these guys? Well, yeah, that's not a surprise. Does anyone actually want to look at this part? Does anyone want the wind parks? The wind things? The Greens and Farmers, apparently want them, National Union wants them, and these guys don't want them. And wow, who would have thought that the 2 parties in the lead are saying that actually their government has been doing fine the last 4 years? That is a shocker and a half. The next thing I kind of want to look at is Daugavpils, which I was asked about in the comments from someone who lives there, which is the largest city in... well, it's not the largest town. I think Daugavpils is the 2nd largest town in Latvia after Riga. You know what? I have the power of Google to check that, like, right now. It is, in fact, Daugavpils, with, like, 80,000 people, roughly. And a good portion of them are ethnic Russians, like, the majority. I think they might be the only town with a, like, strictly Russian citizen majority. It's part of this easternmost region of Latvia called Latgale, which has had a history... Compared to the rest of Latvia, it has the longest history of being a part of the Russian Empire. It had the latest abolition of serfdom, and it has the most significant amount of Russification done to it. So this region speaks Russian a lot more, and there's a lot more Russians in most of these regions, and you will see in voter maps that, previously this was a region dominated by Saskaņa, and now it's a region where most of these parts of Latvia vote a lot, like they vote heavily for stability, sovereign power, that type of stuff. Let's see what issues Daugavpils is all about. Surely nothing will be controversial about this. The government needs to unequivocally and publicly condemn Russian aggression in Ukraine, and commit to solidarity, just like flags or whatever, even if a portion of the voters don't agree with it. Well, that's like the whole point of parties and voters, and like you do. Yeah. So this is saying that if a deputy has apparent income and quality of living standards and like properties and whatever that don't align with what you would expect on a politician's salary, that it should invite a further investigation from the law establishments and anti-corruption establishments, even if there is no direct evidence of corruption. And I think that that's completely justified. I do think that's justified because, I mean, I don't want to be the guy that says, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. But I mean, we're talking not about like separate citizens, we're talking about politicians where, this stuff should be pretty public information, like where they get their funds from and the like. I do think that that's absolutely the case. So yeah, sure. The phrasing on... there's some times where the question's phrasing is really terrible, and I actually want to do the Riga one, because I just remember there's some dog-ass phrasing in those questions there, and confusing as hell questions, especially someone who might... I don't live in the center of Riga, but this one is like... Okay, so the question... The statement is... the destruction of Soviet monuments was a mistake, which offended a large portion of the population of the city. I mean, I don't think it was a mistake, but I mean, I assume that it probably did offend a portion of the city that is majority Russian. I mean, it's just, looking, I might just be autistic, but like looking at the sentence, this part of the sentence isn't like like an opinion that I could have or not have. This one is just a statement of a fact of life, that the people weren't happy with it, that some people weren't happy with it. Well, and there you go. You have a bunch of other parties here, and including some parties that you didn't see in the any other thing I've mentioned. Like, you can see that there's a Daugavpils specific one. There's this one called Kopā Latvija, Together for Latvia. This one, you can see LPV is actually cooperating with Latgales Partija. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, New Unity had a deal with the party of Latgale. So it's interesting to see that, like, in Latgale, actual Latgale, like, they have a deal and a united list with LPV. That's, And over here you have Latvijas Zaļā Partija, that is the Latvian Green Party, which rightfully pointed out is a party that ditched the Greens and Farmers, which of course is like, wait, why is it still called the Greens of Farmers if the Greens left? Branding, I guess. And they're working with the Daugavpils Novada Partija, which is the Daugavpils Region Party, which I guess is... Well, it makes sense that they're operating both in the region, technically, and the actual city, but, like, Anyway, you can see that I mostly agree with, for unity, and yeah, you can also see here that the first question is, hey, should the government condemn Russian aggression in Ukraine? And you can see that the majority of parties are over here saying absolutely they should be, including LPV, obviously National Union, Development and For, and all that. And then you have Sovereign Power / New Latvians, as well as Daugavpils, Ventspils, and they are both saying no. And also, I just looked at this list again. Does Stability not have a list here? Stability doesn't have a list in Daugavpils? Am I tripping balls? Why are they not there? Do I not know anything? I'm sorry, I just would have assumed that the most, like, currently biggest and most successful pro-Russian party in Latvia would have a list in... Or maybe they just haven't given responses? Hold on. There's a way to check this, because, to be fair, this only lists people that have given responses. So if I went over here, I went to Daugavpils, you can see up here there's a specific tab for candidates, and in candidates in Daugavpils, yes, okay, that makes more sense. Okay, we're back into the world that makes sense. They just haven't filled out the responses because they're fucking cowards. That's something we've learned today. Alright, let's do it. There's Riga. And, okay, this first question is one that's apparently really super relevant, which is the question of stabini, aka little poles, and I need to now look it up as well. So apparently, these things are a problem that people have and hate, and I'm going to be honest, I mean, I don't drive a car, so I've never even goddamn noticed these things being there. Like, they're supposed to be there to help against, like, people being hit by cars or whatever, except they're not. But I don't know what their deal is really, or what I don't know. Apparently it's a big deal though. My genuine response to this is that I do not have an opinion. When I first did this quiz though, I had an answer that said like, oh yeah, I agree with these things being here, because I mean, I think lowering the number of cars in Riga is at this point kind of a priority, switching more to bicycles and switching more to public transport. I mean, it's well documented literally everywhere on this goddamn planet that the one more lane shit doesn't work. It's not a functional idea to just be like, hey, I mean, let's just put another lane in there. Let's just, more lanes, more lanes, more lanes. Eventually we'll hit enough lanes that everyone will be able to get where they want to go quickly. It doesn't work. It doesn't goddamn work. There's always traffic, and literally the only way to get rid of that traffic is to actually discourage private car ownership as much as you can. Sorry. But the reason I'm not voting for this now is because there's genuinely just a question later about that, and I was annoyed that this is the first question, because that's God damn it. Oh, there's a question about Riga waterfront, which is Schlesser's personal pet project he's doing with the UAE, but this is, like, as pointed out, a massive project in what is Riga's historical center, like, area, protected area, and the justification being like, oh, but there's a lot of money going in here, there's a lot of money in this project. Piss off, build it somewhere else. I'm gonna say that very bluntly. Oh, this is a question about pride, and yeah, there you go. And I actually do want to do a video sometime after the election, maybe down the road, about how these marches, not just pride marches, not just like whatever other march you might think of, like genuinely any march and any protest in Latvia and in Riga is organized, because as far as I'm aware, and you can educate me in the comments, I always appreciate that if you are more knowledgeable about this, but as far as I'm aware, the basic idea is, like, no matter what the cause and topic is, provided that it isn't regarding something outright illegal, it isn't against the sovereignty of Latvia, or in support of genuine hostile movements and hostile powers, and I don't know, like spreading hatred or whatever, you can have a march or a protest like about anything. You know, if you're ever heard or said the phrase, oh, but what about where's the straight, where's the straight march, straight parade? I mean, you can genuinely just go out and do that. Like, I kind of appreciate the almost like passive stance that the government has had over the years towards these sort of things, which is just like, if you schedule it and you show that there's people that will go on this thing, like, yeah, whatever, we'll just like go do that. We don't particularly care. Like, I appreciate that immensely. On a, like, just like whatever cause you want, just sure, let us know in advance. And I like that. And of course, over here, there's also a question about Soviet monuments. So I'm assuming it's relevant to going to be in a lot of pretty much anywhere where those monuments are either those monuments are a thing, or there's a large Russian minority you're going to see this question. And I mean, Riga is both. So yeah. And this is where I stand on Riga. You're gonna see that I have very little green going on here, don't I? Oh my god. Obviously there's the usual suspects down here in the red, but I have so little green. Wait, Platform 21, oh, what do you mean Platform 21? Okay. This is another party, the follow-up of a party that is going to need its own separate video, which is KPLV, which was a party called Kam Pieder Latvija, or Who Owns Latvia, which was the biggest, it was like the second most successful party in the 2018 elections after Harmony. It was a populist party which absolutely exploded once it got into government, and you couldn't tell that it was going to explode if you had, like, eyes and had finished one of these surveys, because if you're doing the surveys for Simon, the national surveys, there's the option to also look at responses from individual candidates. And, you know, it sort of makes sense that you would have, if you fill out this survey, you will have certain parties and certain people at the top that you agree with, certain parties and people you disagree with at the bottom. And generally speaking, the parties, the people you agree with, the parties are kind of clumped together, right? The parties you line up with and the people you line with, you mostly, if you agree with progressives, most of the progressives, if not all of them, will be at the top of your list. With KPLV, I remember distinctly how, like, the second person I agreed with the most was from this party. And at the very bottom, the person I disagreed with the most was from that party. And you see that and you go, oh, they're not gonna last. They're not gonna last at all. And they didn't. But then there was the person that got kicked from that party. I mean, party was exploding anyway. Aldis Guobzems, and he made a party called Law and Order, I think, which then failed miserably. It got rebranded into, how the hell do you translate this? It was called Katram un Katrai, which was a party, I mean, it was the same thing continued on, and the name basically translates for every man and every woman, Katram un Katrai. And that failed miserably, and now that was rebranded to Platform 21, and I have no idea what the hell is going on with Platform 21 anymore. I don't understand them at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure, I saw something about this party. Yes, it's now a woman's party. It's all women. I don't understand what happened to it. It was just, I don't genuinely know what is going on. It was, and then it's still led by men, but all the candidates are women because feminism. But that's nothing. I don't think that had anything to do with Guobzem's stances, and I don't know what the hell is what it's all about. I'm just gonna say that. I like how I don't agree with anything with Latvia First. I agree with something with sovereign power apparently, but not them. You can see just how divisive the question of the whatever stabbing the Poles was, which is okay. This is somehow infuriating and hilarious, which is. This has been, I've heard about this topic, I've heard it brought up under TikTok comments and YouTube comments and wherever else by people so aggressively. And then the actual parties, like LPV and have been going, oh, the stubbing, the Poles are, how dare they? And then you look at it and they're like, partially disagree. And they're like, oh, and the progressives and New Unit, oh, they don't want so much, they want to shove Poles up your ass, they want stubbing everywhere. Partially agree. What the hell is why do we care? And then, I mean, it is also interesting to look at, for example, this is the Riga waterfront and investments to build things in the protected area of the historical center. And this is like a wild selection of parties here. Obviously, Latvia First is at the top, but then you have pretty much the Coalition plus Development 4 plus Platform 21 apparently plus the United List all being in favor of it. And then you have the Populists, like the Sovereign Power and the New Latvians, you have National Union, you have the Conservatives, and the Progressives against it. Wait, what? What are you talking about? So this is like a very weird one here. So this is, the government should not put any obstacles for pride parades and other LGBT events in Riga. I mean, if this is accurate, I will give some props to LPV for being, just basically probably sticking to the, just do whatever you want thing, but it's weird how probably the average voter for LPV would certainly not be on this position. They would definitely be all the way over here with all the conservatives and stuff, but alright, that's a surprising one. This one is about limiting the use of cars. I'm all for it, and the only ones that are all for it are United List. And it's also always interesting when, okay, so this is the question. This question that I think I skipped when I was recording was the government needs to convince the owners of multi-story buildings, of multi-apartment buildings to make renovations of and heating upgrades of buildings and commit to sanctions if they don't do it. And again, maybe I don't follow Riga politics that closely, but it's kind of an interesting thing when this is a question that was put in here by LSM, so it makes me assume that someone is talking about it, about doing these things, and then no party is saying that they're going to be doing that, so where did the question come from? This is the question about destruction of the Soviet monuments. This side is like, yes, that's good that we did that. This side is that it's bad that we did that. Actually did not know that the Greens and farmers were against that. I don't know, I did not know that was a thing. The rest of them make sense, basically. I was surprised Harmony voted fully agree. I would expect them to be here. To be like, upset people even though, you know, monuments, blah blah blah, but I guess maybe they're just accepting a further shift, which is unfortunate. My government's development in the last 4 years has been unjustifiably slow. Most of the people in the government are saying, no, it was fine, and most of the people in the opposition, and pretty much everyone in the opposition and not in government is saying like, yeah, it was unjustifiably slow. You know what? Thank you for you know, fulfilling my expectations there. I have been recording for a while, and I don't want to extend this recording any further, so thank you for watching. Remember to fill in the poll in the community tab after watching this video, and tune in next time when I will be going through and responding to a bunch of meaningful and little stuff in your comments.